Health Canada is going after your vitamins. 150,000+ petition, grassroots, hand-signed on paper, has been submitted to Parliament. If this amendment is not made, we will lose the ability to stay healthy using alternative options. The only option that they currently want you to use is pharmaceuticals. This is not Canadian. This report is not like my regular reports. I'll be coming out with a regular report later today. This video provides Blaine Coughlin's House of Commons speech 2 years in the making. He has extremely important and valuable information about what's at stake here and a clear call to action. You're not going to want to miss this detailed House Committee speech. Let's go.
Mr. Calkins, seconded by Ms. Cody, moves that Bill C-224, an act to amend the Food and Drugs Act, Natural Health Products, be now read a second time and referred to the Standing Committee on Health. Debate. The Honourable Member for Ponoka-Didsbury.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's certainly a pleasure for me to rise for the second Parliament in a row and present a bill to restore the traditional definition of natural health products. For Canadians watching at home, you might recall that back in the last Parliament in 2023, the government of the day, the Trudeau government of the day, introduced Budget Implementation Act Bill C-47, which redefined natural health products, which have been basically a standalone regulatory body and had its own regulations and its own legislation. But the government of the day changed that to make natural health products regulated the same as therapeutic drugs, which meant that all of the processes that Health Canada use to pre-approve sites, to pre-approve products for natural health products now would be the same as therapeutic drugs. So that would include getting something as simple as a vitamin B complex to the marketplace would be just as complicated and potentially as convoluted as getting a new cancer treatment drug to the marketplace. And of course, the government's intention through that Bill C-47 change of the definition was to do cost recovery on the natural health product industry the same way that they do on the pharmaceutical industry. Given the fact that big pharmaceutical industries have billions of dollars of research and development funds and they have a completely regulated allopathic healthcare system, natural health products can't compete in that space. And we'll talk more about that red tape. But I just wanted to be clear with Canadians that there was no consultation at the time that Bill C-47 was brought through. As a matter of fact, there was no debate. I couldn't find anything that the government said at the time in Bill C-47 about natural health products. It was just tucked in this massive omnibus Budget Implementation Act. The Natural Health Products Protection Association had no idea. The Canadian Health Food Association had no idea. The Direct Sellers Association had no idea. The Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses didn't know. So this was all done. It was a plan hatched in a back room where Health Canada officials, I'm assuming, basically duped the Minister of the day, Mark Holland, into putting this into the budget implementation, and it created a firestorm of activity. For parliamentarians that were here in the last Parliament, you'll remember that various campaigns were initiated by Canadians across the country, whether it's the Natural Health Products Protection Association, the Canadian Health Food Association, Save Our Supplements campaigns. MPs were, I have a stack of cards, Madam Speaker, and I think you probably do as well, that was at least 2 feet high in my office from concerned Canadians. And I'll just say that Canada's Parliament is supreme in this matter, and it shouldn't be overlooked by Health Canada officials that want to just have their way all of the time where Canadians are concerned. Our job as parliamentarians is to make sure that the laws and regulations therein or thereunder reflect what Canadians' wishes are. And overwhelmingly, this Parliament has been told time and time again by Canadians, whether they're involved in the business directly or whether they're consumers, that they don't want their government to be treating natural health products like they're a therapeutic drug. They want the traditional definition restored. So we go back to 1998. There was 53 recommendations in the Health Committee report suggesting that natural health products be regulated and classified and categorized on their own. There was opposition when the law was tried to change in 2014 by the creation of Vanessa's Law, and the thought was Health Canada could sneak health products in under the Vanessa's Law rubric. But of course, there was pushback on that at that particular point in time, which led to massive industry consultation and consultation with Canadians. And of course, natural health products have been regulated since that time, 2014, 2015, on their own. And it actually created a time and opportunity because of that consultation of the previous Harper government that the natural health product industry has actually flourished and become the gold standard, or at least was the gold standard, for a number of years until Bill C-47 was passed. So the bill in the previous Parliament was C-368. It's now C-224. And I just want to say how important it is that Canadians understand that if this bill does not pass, then Health Canada will have the powers to regulate natural health products as if they're therapeutic drugs. So we need to undo that. That is a cash grab by Health Canada to basically charge the fees that they wanted to charge. They called it the self-care framework for a time. This would massively increase the cost for creating a site license, and it would also increase costs massively for getting a product to the market. So already prior to C-47, Canada was like I said, an icon and very much the highest standard of regulations of natural health products globally. The International Alliance of Dietary Food Supplements Association, IADSA, basically said in their written submission to committee on Bill C-368 in the previous Parliament, up to now, Canada has been a world leader in the regulation of dietary supplements. We fear that the proposed changes to Canada's regulatory framework for natural health products risk creating an environment that could stifle the industry and limit Canadians' access to high-quality supplements. IADSA has always promoted the Canadian model as a global reference point for governments across the world who are creating or redeveloping their regulatory systems. This Canadian model is recognized as providing consumers access to products which are safe and beneficial while fostering innovation and supporting investment in the sector. Well, that's exactly the shape that the previous Harper administration left the natural health products industry in, and it's precisely the challenge that the changes in Bill C-47 have actually posed and have undone all of that good work and created uncertainty in the environment. Our brand, Madam Speaker, is very reputable, or at least it was. For products and manufacturers and distributors across the world, if it had that natural product number and it had that Made in Canada symbol on the label, it was trusted pretty much globally that a natural health product sold around the world that was developed and processed and regulated in Canada could be trusted to be safe and the contents that were in the bottle matched the contents that were on the label or matched the labeling requirements, Madam Speaker. So that was our reputation then. That is not the case anymore. The changes that have been proposed under C-47 and the self-care framework basically are going to create license fees that would basically stop or wipe out a lot of manufacturers, and this is for traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, homeopathy, and so on. This is very concerning because 80% of Canadians, Madam Speaker, actually use these products. And of course, the framework that, the cost recovery framework that was proposed would have new product fees up to $4,000 per product. If you take a look at traditional Chinese medicine, they actually combine the ingredients and they would get a very select order or a very select remedy for their clients. And if they had to pay a fee every time that they combined those ingredients to make a traditional Chinese medicine product, that would make it virtually impossible for traditional Chinese medicine practitioners in order to be effective and be able to sell their products at a price point where users of traditional Chinese medicine could actually afford. So it would wipe out traditional Chinese medicine. And this has a huge impact on our economy, Madam Speaker, at a time when job numbers aren't necessarily great. There are 54,000 direct employees in Canada that are working in this space. And if we're going to lose a wide swath of traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, all of these things, it would be a tremendous loss in our economy. And I want to be clear that this was done under the previous Trudeau administration. And when this change was imposed, there was no gender-based analysis, and that was a big issue for the previous administration. There was no gender-based analysis done on the impacts of changing the traditional definition of therapeutic products in Bill C-47. And Madam Speaker, over 80% of natural health products consumers are women. 90% of practitioners are women. And over 50% of the micro businesses are female-owned or women-owned as well. 84% of direct sellers are women. And that's what the impact would be on the Canadian economy if we continue down this road of making the natural health product space uncompetitive. We would lose businesses in Canada. And let me just remind people where the starting point was. We were already the best regulated environment in the world. We didn't need to do any of this in Bill C-47. We're the safest already. Over 80% of Canadians use natural health products, and there was several audits done by industry, Deloitte and so on, which basically debunked all of the claims that Health Canada was using to justify what they were doing. So they would claim it's consumer protection, but the reality is very, 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 very few people in any way, shape, or form are harmed in any way by natural health products. So where are we at? More red tape, more costs, less choice for consumers, and in an environment where right now, south of the border, there are several states like Georgia, North Carolina, Texas, South Carolina, and Nevada that are actively using tax incentives to draw health businesses into their areas of responsibility. And right now in Canada, we have a 90-day personal use import system where anybody can order online and have their natural health products brought in from a non-Canadian jurisdiction where the same level of regulatory framework, regulatory checks, the pre-sale versus the pre-market approvals for sites, pre-market approval for products, that all happens in Canada. That's why we have the gold standard when it comes to regulations. That's not what our main competitor in the United States does at all. They have a post-market regulatory framework, which means that anybody that's got a business in Canada right now and is looking at the uncompetitive environment that we face right now, and like I said, most of these business people are actually women, would be looking at the United States saying, I could move my business down to the United States, start manufacturing, have a tax incentive to do so, and I could still ship to Canada, and I don't have to deal with any of the burdens and red tape of the pre-market approvals for a site, the pre-market approvals for a product. I could simply do post-market, have some post-market regulations in the United States and ship into Canada without even any tariffs on those personal use imports. This is actually the environment that we're facing here in Canada, Madam Speaker, and it's one that we should be very, very concerned about and making sure that we don't overburden the Canadian space, because this market is $5.5 billion worth of products every year. That's over $200 million just in GST alone, and the cost of the Natural Health Product Director, it's only $50 million a year. This industry pays for itself in spades, and we're not even talking about the health benefits that Canadians have that keep them out of the allopathic healthcare system or the regulated healthcare system that we have here in Canada, Madam Speaker. And really it comes down to choice. Consumers want to be able to take care of themselves. Mothers want to take care of their families and their children. People are looking for alternative healthcare measures all of the time when the regular healthcare system is not providing them any relief. And anybody that says that Health Canada doesn't have enough power right now is simply missing the point. As a matter of fact, the Auditor General said that Health Canada wasn't already using these powers that they had pre-Bill C-47. So right now, the Health Canada's current powers, they can stop the sale of any natural health product that they want. They have border powers for personal use imports. If they choose to change the regulations or choose to do more to keep Canadians safe from health products that are coming in from offshore, they can do so. They can seize any product anytime that they want. They can revoke a site license for a manufacturer, for a packager or a labeler or an importer any time they want. They can mandate a label change, adding a warning, for example, to any of the manufacturers here in Canada. They can inspect any place that has a site license anytime that they want. And they've already done so, and they've looked, it's called the Good Manufacturing Practices, Madam Speaker, and they have that ability to do so. They can inspect any product off the shelf by sending it to a lab, doing an analysis, making sure the contents in the bottle match the contents on the label. They can revoke a natural product number. These are massive, sweeping powers that Health Canada already had prior to Bill C-47. So the arguments that Health Canada is using that they need massive new powers to keep Canadians safe simply doesn't hold water. Also, one of the things I want to expand on a little bit, Madam Speaker, is the fact that health products being regulated now as therapeutic products means that the fine structures for therapeutic products now applies to health products. Some of these fines can be up to $5 million a day for non-compliance. This makes sense for a large global therapeutic or biomedical company, but it doesn't make sense for a mom and pop shop that's trying to create some new natural remedies, or a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine. This is a ridiculous change that simply didn't need to happen, Madam Speaker. It puts a chill in the industry, a chill in investment, and nobody wants to operate or take any risks in that particular structure. So, in closing, Madam Speaker, I want to thank Canadians from coast to coast who have written into parliamentarians and have put pressure on their MPs. You need to, I'll just advise them right now, you need to continue to do that, because there will be a vote on this, and I know that we need to make the changes to get natural health products back to their traditional definition and classification. We need colleagues to get this bill to committee so that we can go through it again. I urge everybody to listen to Canadians, and it's time to have some true consultation on this process. I want to thank all of the industry association reps, Natural Health Products Protection Association, Canadian Health Food Association, and everybody else who has lobbied so hard in order to protect this vital, important business and this vital, important space for Canadians. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I think Blaine did an excellent job. I encourage every single one of you to write to your MP and tell them you want your natural health products to be protected. So we have the option in Canada to choose whatever we want, especially when it comes to our health. I look forward to providing everybody updates on this subject, because this subject hits home. I believe vitamins have saved my life. 10 years ago, I suffered from allergies, which caused me not to be able to breathe properly. I jumped on a vitamin called NAC, and ever since then, I've been able to breathe just fine. It is incredible the benefits you could get from vitamins. I'll see you on the next report.